Sucker Punch! Sucker Punch. Back in 2011, Zack Snyder unleashed this badass female-led action fantasy clusterfuck into the world. And I've managed to avoid it for years because, let's be honest, it looks awful. And I hate Zack Snyder. I think he sucks. But is Sucker Punch as bad as they say? Or is it really an underrated, awesomely good time? Let's find out. The movie opens on a scared girl in a bed. It's thunderstorming outside, and there's an old man who's looking at her, and he's going, no. She runs into another room with a younger girl, and there's a woman who's dead in there. And then there's this other guy, and he seems to be happy. What a piece of shit. This guy opens up the woman's will, and she has left everything, her entire estate, to these two girls. So if I had to guess, these two girls are sisters. Their mother just died, and this man is her evil husband, their stepdad, or maybe just their evil dad. I don't know. Never tells you. Upon finding out that this woman left everything to her daughters, this dude gets so pissed off. He attacks the older one and locks her up, and then he goes after the younger one. Older girl escapes from the room and comes back and shoots the evil stepdad, but she misses. Then she goes to the younger sister, and he has killed her. She's dead. She lifts the gun like she's going to shoot the stepdad again, but then just runs away. He calls the cops and blames her for the murder of her sister. The cops sedate her, and then he ends up driving her to this place called Lennox House, which I assume is some kind of an asylum. Already off to a really great start. Why would the police believe that she killed her sister? Why would the cops sedate someone at the scene of a crime? A murder, in fact. Why would the cops then hand her back over to her stepdad and let him drive her to an insane asylum? Why was a really shitty cover of Sweet Dreams playing over this entire sequence? I really hope that we get some answers. At the asylum, they check her in and take her to her cell. And hey, it's Oscar Isaac. He's a head honcho around here, and he brings her into this big gym. There's this big stage, and it's full of crazy gals. He says something about this Polish lady. She's teaching all of the inmates to use theater as a way to kind of express themselves, and it just really helps them with their messed up noggins. Oscar and the stepdad are having a side conversation about how he needs $2,000 a month now instead of the agreed upon $1,400, and her lobotomy will be in 5 days. And oh man, these are some really bad dudes. Another really slowed down cover of Where Is My Mind starts to play. I really hate these. This movie does it a lot, like pretty much the whole time. I hated this trend when it started, and I think it's gotten even worse now. Every movie trailer seems to have like a slowed down cover of a song that was popular 40 years ago, and it drives me nuts. Like, just use the original song. In the asylum, they've got her stocking shelves and scrubbing poopy toilets. Is this normal? Do the inmates at like a psychiatric hospital, are they the ones doing all the work around the place? We go through the whole montage, and now we're at her lobotomy. When everything stops, and instead of a psych ward, we're in some kind of nightclub. And Oscar Isaac is a gangsta, and stepdad is a priest, and she's an orphan. And she is going to be working at this joint as a dancer and a whore. And now we're back in the Institute? We're not. We're still in this, like, strip club joint, but the back, like the inner workings of this building, are very much like the Institute in that they're on lockdown. These girls, the strippers, they can't get out. She ends up stopping one of the cooks from trying to rape one of the other girls. She's also dressed like Sailor Moon and Donald Duck. Then they all go into a dance room, and the Polish lady, she tells her to dance, and they start playing Bjork, very of the time. Oscar comes in to watch his new purchase, maybe get a little boner going. She closes her eyes, and now she's on a snowy mountain in front of a Japanese temple. Cool. Inside the temple is an old white guy, and he gives her a sword, and then he tells her that she needs to find 5 things. A map, a key, some fire, a knife, and the last thing is a mystery. He's not going to tell her. Then she has to fight some big, scary Ronin samurai-looking dudes, and this movie has now turned into a video game. These dudes look really cool. One kicks her and sends her flying. They end up having this big sword fight, and she kills it. And then a second one comes in with a minigun, and he starts lighting the place up. And this is awesome. She runs and dodges the bullets and gets in his face and pulls out a gun of her own and pops a round into his skull. He dies and the building crumbles behind her as she walks away, and I think this might be the coolest movie ever made. Turns out this was all her dancing in front of everybody. She went into this place as some kind of disassociation. Everybody in the room is shocked, like, damn, girl! She tells all the girls later that she's planning on escaping, and they're like, yeah, right, anybody who's ever tried that has died. I guess it's time for me to go through the main gals of our story because there are several. We have Baby, Rocket, Sweet Pea, Blondie, which is Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical, Amber, who plays Chi-Chi in Dragon Ball Evolution. I just did a video on that. The Polish teacher, her name is Gorski, and Oscar Isaac is Blue. Got it? Rocket tells P that Baby saved her from the cook, and then she tells them all the stuff that she needs to get out of there before this high roller guy gets here. Blue has been making a big deal about this guy named the High Roller and how she's gonna be something that he's really gonna like. They all agree, let's band together, let's get the out of here. To distract Blue to get the map out of his office, they tell him that, hey, Baby's dancing again. He's like, oh my! So he leaves his office, P sneaks in, she goes up to the map that's on his wall, and she takes it off. And Baby starts dancing, and now we go into a different type of video game cutscene. We're in World War I on a battlefield, baby. Planes are flying, bombs are dropping. White guy shows up and he's like, hey, you ladies gotta go and get that map. One of them hops in a mech, and the rest head out shooting at steampunk soldiers and exploding planes. This rules, man. They're fighting off hordes of steam soldiers in the trenches, and I am loving every single second of this. Baby gets pulled into a room with the priest slash stepdad, who's now an evil burn victim. He has the map, and they have a short but sweet fight, and then the building collapses on him, and another guy now has the map, and he's getting away, so she chases after him. He hops onto a Zeppelin, so she grabs a heavy machine gun and shoots the thing down. This movie rules. He gets thrown off of it in front of her and tries to shoot her, but she deflects the bullets with her sword, and then she grabs the map. Then she's surrounded by Bernie Sanders and all the soldiers, so she flings the map into the air. The mech drops on top of him, and the ladies are all on it. And then they just start shooting, and I'm jumping out of my seat. I'm so hyped up. They get the map, mission accomplished. Blue is so horned up and excited by her dancing. He's like, yeah, put her on stage now. And Gorski's like, she's not ready. And he's like, I don't give a do it. She's like, no. And he's like, I own you, you stupid bitch. Do it. Baby and Rocket have a little bit of a heart-to-heart, and this movie then reminds me that she's an orphan. Earlier they said that she was 20. They keep orphans till they're 20? And I feel like in whatever year this is pretending to be in, that there were kids smoking cigarettes down in the coal mines. Blue goes into his office and he notices, something's off about my map. Who's been touching my map? The girls are talking about how the mayor's coming and how much they hate him. And then the mayor shows up and he's this real penguin-looking motherfucker. He grabs a cigar and he lights it, and the fire. Baby gets on stage and she starts twerking that ass. And now we're on a plane. The ladies are headed to a castle to go and get that fire. Old dude's with him. He's dropping propane bombs off the side of it. This scene, it's a medieval battle, very fantasy based. There's orcs and goblins and archers and all kinds of stuff. It's a castle and lava. They all jump out of the plane and start blasting orcs. A couple orcs catapult onto the plane and they get shredded by the propeller. I'm pooping my pants with excitement. The goal of this mission is for them to find a baby dragon and kill it so that they can get its like fire glands, I guess. Who cares? This is awesome. They find the baby dragon, and in a moment where I think that other movies would be too pussy to do it, they slit this little f***er's throat and they take out his fire glands. This wakes up Mama Dragon, who is not very happy that they just brutally murdered her child. They run out and Mama flies after them. She starts attacking the plane. Then she swoops down to chomp Baby, who jumps out of the way, lands on her head, and stabs her brain. Mission accomplished. In other movies, I think I would be upset by the injustice that was done to this dragon, but in this one, I want these girls to genocide all dragons. I would watch hours of them doing nothing but killing killing baby dragons. And now we're back on stage and everybody is losing their minds to what Baby just did. I can only imagine what kind of crazy move she was slinging up there. Backstage, the girls are stoked. They hide the lighter and Blue comes in and he's like, "You little have been doing stuff and stealing stuff and you better got it out." They all get really scared. Sweet Pea's like, "He's onto us. We need to abandon the mission." And Rocket's like, "No, we're still doing it, with or without you." And Sweet Pea gets really butthurt. Girl fight! Blondie ends up having some kind of a breakdown, and then Gorski comes in. She's like, "What's wrong, baby girl?" And she's about to tell her when Blue walks in. The girls are all in the kitchen peeling potatoes, wondering where Blondie's at. And Baby's like, "Guys, Sweet Pea's right. We should just stop this. This is insane." Then Sweet Pea shows up and she's like, "Come on, girls, let's do this." They lock the doors and plop the cook down and Baby starts dancing. And now all the girls are loading up into a helicopter to chase down some sci-fi looking train. There's a bomb on board and they need to defuse it before it reaches a city or something. They blast open the back of the train and they hop in. Inside are a bunch of robots with guns. Oh shit. They slow-mo kill all of them. This part probably goes on for a little too long. I think that out of all of the action pieces, these little fantasy side quests, this was probably my least favorite. Still pretty cool, though. Once all the robots are dead, they begin deactivating the bomb. But back in the kitchen, the radio starts to short circuit, and the chef comes to his senses. He goes to stab Sweet Pea, but Rocket jumps in front of him. Back on the train, a robot overrides the bomb, and Rocket sacrifices herself, but the bomb still explodes in the city. I was really confused by all of this. As Rocket dies, we find out that her and Sweet Pea are actually sisters. Blue walks in, he's like, "Oh, god damn it, what the f*** did you guys do?" "Okay, whatever, get ready, it's time to dance, bitch." The high roller is here. It's Jon Hamm. Backstage, Blue is like, "Guess what, ladies? Blondie ratted you out." And then he shoots Amber, and then he shoots Blondie. And then he tries to do something really bad to Baby, but she grabs the hidden knife and she stabs him. Then she takes the key, she frees Sweet Pea from a closet, and then they set that closet on fire. That fire ends up setting off all the alarms in the building, which unlocks all the doors. They head outside, and there's a bunch of goons out in the parking lot. And they're like, "What now?" Then Baby's like, "It's me. I'm the last piece. You go ahead, Sweet Pea. This is your story, not mine." And I'm like, "Fuck you. Shut the fuck up. This is definitely not Sweet Pea's story. I don't care about her. Baby did all that cool shit with the samurai stuff. She's the coolest one. Just start dancing. Make your ass cheeks clap." She goes to distract the guys and Sweet Pea walks out. She kicks one in the dick and then we get a flash. The lobotomy hammer. It hits and the doctor is Jon Hamm. We're back in the asylum and he's like, "Whoa, did you see the way she looked at me before we made her brain dead? That was crazy." Gorski comes in and we find out all the stuff that we saw, like the fire, the stabbing, the escape. That all happened in the institution prior to this. He looks at her and he's like, "Why did you authorize this?" She's like, "I didn't." And she sees that Baby's signature had been forged. They take her brain dead body back to her cell and we see all the people, like the chef and the burned out room. It's kind of treating all this like it's a big revelation, like, "Oh my god, can you believe this?" And it's like, yeah, I can totally believe, like, this is where the movie started and we clearly went into another fantasy world. It's like, no shit. They take her back to Oscar Isaac and he's really demented now, like really sweaty. He's got blood on him from her stabbing him. He makes these guys take her to this room and all the other guys are like, "Bro, no, we can't be mean to women anymore. This is bad, dude." They all leave and he starts kissing her. Gross! And then he starts choking her when Gorski and the cops come in and they arrest him. Then we pan over to Baby and she looks like a China doll. There's no light behind those eyes. And now we're at a bus station where Sweet Pea is saying something inspirational as a voiceover. Whatever, couldn't care less. Didn't hear a word of it. She's getting on a bus that's headed to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Indiana? Checks out. A couple cops stop her because they're looking for an escaped mental patient, and she clearly fits the bill. And the bus driver's like, "Hey, nah, it's the guy from all the cool stuff." He's like, "She's been here the whole time, so y'all can piss off." And she gets on, and she starts saying something about how it's going to be a long journey, and she keeps yapping over the movie until the credits start rolling. I don't know. I wasn't listening. The end. What an incredibly stupid, nonsensical, awesome movie. We have plot. Then we have another plot. And then we have another plot on top of that. 3 plots. 1 plot, girl sent to crazy facility, but she isn't crazy. Other plot, girl is a slave at a strip club, and her and other slave strippers have to escape from strip club. And other plot, all the girls are badasses who do samurai swords and guns and helicopters and kill dragons. I really liked third plot. Other 2 plots are very dumb and very self-serious and trying to be deep like most Zack Snyder movies are. But the action stuff is where this movie really, really rocks. It's done so well, and it's absurd in the best ways, and it's directed just perfectly. I think one of the things that it does that makes it so good is, like, there's real weight to everything that's happening. Like, you can really feel it. The guns feel heavy. You can see the shots. Every time they hit something, it just feels like it's really having some kind of an impact, which is really great to see, because I feel like in a lot of bigger action movies, everything feels a little weightless and weird. The acting in this is also really good, like surprisingly good. Everybody here is doing the work. It was also really fun to see some like legit big name actors like John Hamm and Oscar Isaac in this. You know, Oscar Isaac looks pretty young. This is an early role for him, but they are going for it. Oscar Isaac is easily doing the most in this movie. The general theme of the movie is obviously like men can be controlling and really evil, and powerful men are really bad, and women should just fight back. Something like that. Good message. Not so sure about the execution. But for real, this is some of the best female-led action that I've ever seen. It never felt stupid or like it was beating me over the head with something. It just was awesome. Like I said at the beginning, this movie got terrible reviews when it came out. It's been panned and just called a real piece of shit. And honestly, I think that's kind of harsh. At the time, I'm sure it was viewed as very bad, but I think if you were to watch it now, you might think differently. It's very dumb, but it's a lot of fun. I'm not a Zack Snyder fanboy. I think most of his movies are dog shit. But I really loved how over the top this felt, and I had a really good time with it. But what do you think? Have you seen Sucker Punch? Do you think it's an underrated gem like I do? Go ahead and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this great, big, beautiful, sexy action movie. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to my channel for more, and as always, thank you for watching. Bye.